And this is the main essay, essay number 1. It says, "We are interested in learning more about you in the context in which you have grown up, formed your aspirations, and accomplished your academic successes. Please describe the factors and challenges that have most shaped your personal life and aspirations. How have these factors helped you to grow?" So, disclaimer here, please do not plagiarize and please do not make up stuff. People will notice if you're not being honest, and this is my own personal story and they probably have it on file, so if you do something like 99% similar to mine, then they would probably notice and they will say, this person is not genuine, let's not accept this person. So keep that in mind. Here it goes. Intuitively, I knew Santa Claus wasn't real by the time I was 5. Everyone told me about this bearded old man who would selflessly give away presents to good children, but I knew that reality was much more ... realistic. At the time, I contemplated the adults' manipulative motives behind such a ridiculous fairy tale. Wow, I kind of started off strong. It might have been because I saw something I shouldn't have at a young age. When I was 4, I realized that Mom had violent symptoms of bipolar disorder, while Dad had serious addiction problems. And as conventional Koreans, my grandparents were biased toward their son and could not tolerate my mom for the sake of the family. My parents made a scene when they divorced, which included the usual crying, screaming, abuse, and profanities that scared children in the background. Mom disappeared, and Dad abandoned us at our grandparents' house. Most days, I explored the world through the internet while my grandparents were at work and Joseph, my older brother, at school. While I was still in Korea, Grandma knew I was an odd child in desperate need of professional guidance, but our family's economic status did not allow it. According to the adults, I was subject to inheriting Mom's disorders. When I started school earlier than others, my classmates labeled me as a know-it-all, sick-minded weirdo who always spoke at the wrong times. I had no friends. I only knew how to satisfy adults, think about their intentions, and conform to their reality. When Dad stopped drinking and smoking, I knew things were about to change. He got his master's degree in theology to become a pastor, and the Korean Methodist community needed him to fill in a missionary position in Arizona. I remember Dad's mixed emotions as he asked me, "Do you know what Arizona is?" On the first day of first grade in Flagstaff, Arizona, I was ready to be a normal child. I thought this was my second chance at a social life until I realized that I stuck out like a sore thumb with my obvious physical differences and language barrier. As I awkwardly shuffled across the room, sat down in a dull plastic chair, and reached for the nearest crayon, I looked through my unkempt bangs to see dozens of colorful eyes. Most of my new classmates were craning their necks to see this new kid. I imagined their laser-like stares burning my unfashionable clothes. Every goosebump on my body felt the intensity and suspense of the moment. Every movement I made was caught by someone's eyes. Self-conscious, my 7-year-old mind started debating whether I should run to my dad, who was trying to talk with my new teacher about the blinding whiteboards, or sit through one of the most uncomfortable moments of my life. I chose the latter, and I didn't regret it. Apparently, things were different in America. People willingly started a conversation with me to make me feel more welcome. Teachers tutored me, and I was able to learn English at a surprising rate. By second grade, I still wasn't a normal child, but nobody was normal at our school. Everyone acted and thought differently than others. We were all sick-minded weirdos in our own ways. We spoke our minds freely and developed our own opinions, but we also learned how to respect each other and share our feelings. I loved it. Throughout the next decade, as I moved back and forth between the two countries several times, I learned how to accept, adjust, and adapt. I quickly found out that I had to fend for myself. Dad couldn't do much for me. And because of this, I also developed a strong sense of individualism. For example, I knew my family couldn't afford piano lessons, so I signed up for a competitive local scholarship for one-on-one tutoring. Thankfully, I was accepted 3 times for 6 semesters, which provided the opportunity to learn from a professional. In a broader sense, the two countries have shaped my personal life. Intellectually, while Korea has helped me grow my inner logical, mathematical, and practical side, the US has taught me the great depths of philosophy, creativity, and perspective. But most importantly, I learned how to love. When my best friends sometimes tell me how much they love and care, I feel myself melting from emotion. So I try to balance my life with my education, the things that I love and care about, and my friends and family whom I love and care for. This is all thanks to the people and series of events that have made up the past 17.5 years of my life. I can't wait to show them the results of their influence when I am successful and even happier. So that's the end of my first essay. That is the longest essay. There is an essay number 2, which is chosen from 3 options. The first one is tell us about one of your proudest achievements or moments and what it says about you. The second one is reflect on a significant risk you have taken or an ethical dilemma you have faced. What action did you take and how did it change you? And number 3 is what do you admire most about your community? How would you improve? What would you improve? I chose the second one, the significant risk and ethical dilemma that I chose to face and how it changed me. Here it goes. People tell me that it's best to go with the flow and try not to get involved. But it's hard not to notice the blatant racism, unfair stereotypes, and quite frankly, the fact that I am the only Asian in the entire school of almost 1,500 students. What they don't seem to understand is that being different in itself makes people uncomfortable or unaccepted. Now, had I been a total introvert with common sense and a will not to commit social suicide, I would not have founded the Asian Cultural Club at Coconino High School. But I am glad I did. Actually, I am eternally grateful to everything and everyone who has helped me create this club. Asian Cultural Club was a significant risk, but it has become a way to directly face the pressing issue of racism and stereotyping in our school and community. Our club members may be misfits and pariahs in the normal society, but during our lunch meetings, we are all one dysfunctional but loving family. As we learn about Asian culture together, we start to understand and accept not only the culture, but also each other. Personally, I grew a lot from leading this club. I have realized that learning about other cultures has broadened my perspective, which is also the reason why I chose to take AP Spanish. The club has made me learn how to adjust to differences and manage a group of 32 extremely unique individuals. Talking with executives and other club leaders about hosting events and involvement in the school community has been a real challenge for me, but I know it has helped me in so many ways. I now realize the importance of event planning, the ability to talk with important people, leading and managing a team, and the shared feeling of accomplishment. Our school and community-wide events, including the annual Asian Cultural Festival, Homecoming Parade, and Multicultural Fair, all have different activities but one central goal: to raise awareness of different cultures. We pose the billion-dollar questions. What is culture and why is it important? Why is diversity important to society? Why should we even care whether Asians are really better at math or not? While these questions remain unanswered, I know one thing. Every student at Coconino High School knows that Asia is a continent, and China and Japan are not the only 2 countries in Asia. You would be surprised. We agree that we want the entire school to be more accepting of each other, as well as the difference between Asian weirdness and American weirdness. We want to bring positive change to our school and community and to open their minds about culture and differences. We have seen positive growth and more awareness and acceptance of Asian culture over the past few years. We hope to continue to make a positive impact on the school, the community, and ourselves. So 2 things I want to talk about these 2 essays. The first one is that they stay on topic. They talk about the same thing throughout the entire essay, but they point out realizations and real big ideas into separate paragraphs. And I know this is super elementary, but trust me, the 5-paragraph format works. At least it did for me. And it's okay if you ramble on because they want to know what you think. What are your thoughts? What are your beliefs? What is your personal values? And what do you do that makes you happy, that makes you challenged, that makes you feel motivated? What is it about you that keeps you driven, that keeps you that keeps you wanting to go to MIT, that keeps you wanting to go to a top school? What do they want to see? You have to think about that. But in the first essay, I know I was being super personal, and I tried to tie it all together through the same thematic. I had a theme for the first essay. It was the whole my cynicism, basically. The first paragraph about the Santa Claus, I know that is super unconventional. Like, I know I was being outwardly weird when I wrote that first paragraph about Santa Claus and how I didn't believe it since I was 5. But I tied it together throughout the essay. I said, what is being normal? What is being the new kid like? What is adapting to new culture? How did the divorce impact me, and how did it make me feel the way I did? How did it change my perspective on the world? They want to see those things. They want to see how all of your experiences throughout your childhood has shaped you. How did it shape you? How did it shape your perspective on the world? How do you view the world in the first place? Like, what kind of lens do you have? What kind of outlook do you have on the world? And mine was cynicism, and it was humorous cynicism. It was blatant, it was frank, it was down to earth, it was practical, but I did note that another theme that I used in this essay was the two countries, Korea and the US. And I tied it all together at the end, saying Korea has shaped me in the practical, logical sense, and America has shaped me in the creative, perspective sense. And then I tied it all together with the feeling of love, and which is universal and relatable. Like, the people that are going to be reading your essays, they are also humans, and they also want to see what kind of human you are, what kind of person you are. So show them your personality through your writing. The second essay, it talks about stereotypes and racism and how I challenged that through the Asian Cultural Club. But one key thing that I want to point out here is that I talked about not just how it generally shaped my perspective on racism and stereotyping and how I challenged it, but also on a personal level, how I grew from leading this club, how I was affected personally. And that's why I like the paragraph that starts with the word personally. I grew a lot from leading this club. I had to lead 32 unique individuals. I had to talk with other executives. I had to plan these events, and I had to develop my own sense of teamwork and collaboration and stuff like that throughout this club. And I also wrote some specific events that we hosted, including the Homecoming Asian Cultural Festival and the Multicultural Fair, and because they want to see what you did in that club also. Like, what kind of activities did you do in the club? Okay, we get it that it's the Asian Cultural Club, and so you want to raise awareness of the culture, but what does that mean? How did you do that? How did you pursue that goal? And there are also elements of humor in my essay because I just like humor, and I'm a humorous person. I like being funny. And so I put in, why should we even care whether Asians are really better at math or not? Like, one of the billion-dollar questions. And I was poking fun at the stereotype while talking about stereotypes, if that makes sense. And both of my essays all end on a hopeful very positive outlook on the world. And that is just how I was back in high school. I was really hopeful and happy and goal-driven and all that stuff, so I wanted to show that through my essays. Right now, I'm not very goal-driven, obviously, because I'm in a psych ward, but back in high school, that is how I felt, and that was my genuine feeling and my outlook on the world, so that's how I portrayed it throughout my essay.